From beautiful downtown Guthrie, welcome to Hit the Bricks.
Everything that's interesting about Guthrie, Oklahoma, your posture is really good. You know that?
Right now it is.
Yeah.
Here in a minute, I'm going to be all slacked back.
Yeah.
I'm Chris Evans. Way over there is my good friend Justin Fortney, City of Guthrie Tourism Director, and all cool stuff with that. We got a cool guest today.
Yeah. Trey Woods is with us. Hey, Trey.
Hello.
Trey is the owner of Hoboken Coffee Roasters here in Guthrie.
Trey and Mallory.
Yeah, Trey and Mallory together.
I give her. She promised a shout out, so I give her a shout
Right.
out.
She doesn't watch Facebook. That's all right. She'll never know. How's Hoboken?
It's well. We've been at it for 6 years now. Got a little expansion going on. Roasting facility that's attached to the cafe, so just kind of broke into more of our building there, and got some great staff, and coffee is tasty, and the weather's perfect on the deck, so it's good for us.
Yeah, the empire is growing.
Yes.
Hoboken.
It was amazing. I drove somewhere in town yesterday at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the parking lot was full. I mean, when I think coffee shop, of course, the coffee shop has changed over the last 5 years,
Sure.
10 years. Usually you think morning time, but 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it was packed.
Yeah. It's wild. We thought that too before we opened. You know,
Yeah.
that was kind of going to be the sweet spot in the morning, obviously. And in fact, our hours were 7 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. to noon when we first started. We closed it down at noon, and it's just people with a laptop and work to do. You know, they'll come in and sit down and have a coffee and a cookie and fill it up.
We've had chamber meetings there. We've had several type of meetings at Hoboken. It's real friendly for those type of atmosphere.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, we definitely want to accommodate that. There's some that may not be quite not any that I know, of course. Just ones I hear of that they want more of a holistic vibe where people are sitting and actually talking to each other. I don't know anything about that. If you've got your phone out on your computer, you should come on in.
Right on. Yeah, I like driving by there and seeing how packed that parking lot. You're gonna have to get like a garage pretty soon, like a double-decker parking garage.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
We get more people to ride their bike.
Yeah, absolutely. There is bike parking at Hoboken, so ride your bike to Hoboken, park your bike there. Last week we talked about the Strong Town contest. Have you heard about this, Trey?
It worked last time.
I don't know the details. I'd love to know more about it.
Well,
So-
if you like domination, that's what happened last week.
Yeah, we utterly destroyed that poor little town in Kansas.
Basically, due to this show.
So you
Right,
guys
yeah.
are like a one seed then? Is that what you're saying? You're no Cinderella.
Oh, we are Cinderella compared to like some of these other towns that are still in it. So we made it through the round of 16. For strongtowns.org is who's doing this contest for like the strongest town in the United States, and so we're up against in the Elite 8 like 3 Florida towns. Mm-hmm. They all got beaches, which is kind of super lame.
That's not fair.
Right. We don't have a beach. Well, actually, there's like a little beach out at Liberty Lake.
Yeah, there's sand.
There's
There's
sand
some
out there.
sand out there.
Yeah.
It's mixed in with some pebbles and stuff, but there's sand.
We may not have submitted a picture of Liberty, the Liberty Beach.
No,
As part of our submission.
but we do
I can't
have
remember.
3 places where you can get water from. I
Right.
mean, that's one thing. We do have a lot of bodies of water.
Yeah, and there's a New Rochelle, New York, which is kind of like New York City's Edmond, but we're up directly against Nelson, British Columbia.
Canada.
That's a breeze.
Yeah, we're up against Canada.
It's like that international basketball player you never heard of, and he's pretty
Right.
good. And you're like, wow, this. And here we
Like
are.
Luke Longley.
Yeah, Guthrie got 76% of the vote, which is pretty good. But Nelson got 80% of the vote in round 1.
Oh, really? I didn't even look at that.
Yeah.
You're much more prepared
Yeah.
for this than I am.
Yeah.
So-
Well, you sent me the text.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got it from you.
Correct. So voting for this lasts until Friday, so you can vote for Guthrie as a better town than Nelson, British Columbia. So some fun facts about Nelson, British Columbia. Fact number 1, this is an indisputable fact. Nelson, British Columbia was named after Craig T. Nelson.
So they haven't been around very long, or they have a name change?
Pretty new town. Yeah, Craig T. Nelson, the actor,
Yeah.
from Coach. You guys ever watch Coach back in the day?
yeah.
I know about it. Never watched it.
Seriously?
Yeah, I remember the whistle, and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and the short shorts.
You do
but-
Guthrie sports page.
And never
You're not
watched
a Coach
it, no.
fan. Okay. Yeah.
I can see how you
Yeah.
can connect those two together, but
So Craig T. Nelson was also in Parenthood, which is one of those shows that people just cry on that show all the time. I remember watching some of it, and I got tired of all the weeping.
what he made up for in his other movie.
Yeah, Poltergeist. He was in Poltergeist. You guys ever get to watch that one?
Never watched
It's
Poltergeist.
terrifying.
Yeah, it's super scary.
I know
That
it's
was
scary.
It was one of the few movies that I got to watch, like horror movies that somehow sneaked through my parents' gaze. That wasn't a thing we were allowed to do, but I got to watch Poltergeist. And Craig
I always
Nelson
watched
was in
Nightmare
that.
on Elm Street. That's the one who always scared me when I was growing up.
Yeah, I did get to watch that over at somebody else's house. And I was kind of like, don't tell my parents that they watch this. And of
Yeah.
course, the next time they were over at my house, like, did you know that Justin watched Friday the 13th or whatever it was? So Craig T. Nelson is who Nelson, British Columbia was named after. Fact. The next Nelson fact is that it's in British Columbia. British Columbia, which means it's part of Great Britain. And we've already fought a war against Great Britain once before. And so we won that war, Guthrie versus Great Britain.
1-0.
And so it's kind of silly. We had to do this all over again.
It's embarrassing, to be honest
Right.
with you.
You would think that Nelson, British Columbia would have given up by now, but they're coming back at us.
They
With
are.
round two.
Red coats and all.
And
Yeah.
So, it's. Of course, Guthrie has to go against the international flavor in this contest. And
Evidently, the Revolutionary War was ambiguous to British Columbia. So you can vote for Guthrie, strongtowns.org, O-R-G. Let's see, what else can we talk about today? Guthrie Bike Night. Speaking of Hoboken.
two of the three of us got here via bike. I won't tell you who those were, but two of us got here by bike.
So Thursday nights, starting tomorrow night, Guthrie Bike Night starts back up. And this is a bunch of folks who ride bicycles. I was going to say every Thursday night. Most of them ride all the time, but it's kind of like Thursday night is a gathering of folks hanging out and socializing and riding bikes. So, Trey, talk a little bit about Guthrie Bike Night. What is that?
Yeah, so it's this is a social ride, is what I think the best way to describe it. There's a lot of the cycling community can be quite intimidating, different factions of it, but
Fancy clothes and stuff.
yeah, you gotta have the clothes, the shoes.
The shoes. That's what I think of.
Yeah, shoes that's complicated with a bike. They're called clipless pedals, yet you clip into them. This never makes sense to anybody. But a social ride just means that, hey, we're gonna get together, we're gonna ride as a group, so we're not going out to accomplish any sort of time. No one's even really trying to get in a particular workout in. It's to ride together, to enjoy the bike as a group, and then after the riding is done, there's more socializing by sitting in chairs on the deck at the coffee house. And so I think the big picture for putting it together was introducing more people to cycling, introducing them to the great network of dirt roads that we have in Logan County, and even right within the city of Guthrie, there's some really great roads. And so, it's a fairly new niche, you would call gravel riding, and one that has captivated a lot of people. I'm sure there's a handful of people that are familiar with the Land Run 100 up in Stillwater. Enormous bike event, continues to grow, and literally started with about 70 people that were kind of silly enough to go out in a spring day in Oklahoma and try and ride 100 miles on dirt roads up in Payne County.
And they made their way through here a few times, haven't they?
Yeah, so that ride, I think they've done it 7 years now, and every 2 years they reroute the 100-mile course. And in 2017 and 18, the course came through Guthrie. It was the halfway stop one of the gnarliest years. 2017 was Guthrie's first year. I think like 30% of the field finished. Temperatures below 40 degrees all day, wet, muddy, and that race kind of that event put the land run on the cycling world map. Like there were the photos that came out of that and the stories that came out of that have been well documented.
It's pretty hilarious with like outdoor public events. Usually bad weather is kind of the kiss of death. But the awful weather that day made it just kind of famous, and people loved the fact that people were just like, almost dying, and
yes,
it was a miserable deal.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If you're a photographer there, you had the greatest chances to get some of the greatest photos because of the mud everywhere.
I remember there's like a public restroom right across the street here from City Hall. That day, there were probably like 30 people in the restroom at all times, like the cyclists trying to like warm their hands up under the hand dryer, and that the whole restroom was just covered in disgusting mud. And so for the Thursday night rides, the ride leaves from Hoboken at 6:00.
Yep.
And I think we're like shooting for a couple of different distances, maybe of a ride this year. So a little bit more of an accessible distance.
Yes. Yeah. So even more social in the fact that now we're going to accommodate like people that don't even own a bicycle. Like if you don't even have a bike, just like come out. There's enough of us that have multiple bikes that we can lend people bikes. Bring a helmet if you've got one. But we're trying to set this thing up so that there's like a 12-mile loop, a good chunk of that on paved roads, because the dirt roads can be a little intimidating. They're fairly easy to navigate after a few times, but yeah, we're trying to just bring more people in to experience it, because it's just the cycling world is it's a cool group of people that I think when you think back to being a kid and like riding your bikes with your friends, as an adult it's that same feeling. Like there's this pure joy that comes from like hopping on your bike when you're a kid and just like mobbing through town. And that's what it's like even as an adult. So there's you can't find anything negative to say about getting on your bike and riding it.
Yeah, when you roll out of the parking lot there at Hoboken with 20 or 30 other bicycles, it just kind of it feels super cool. You feel good about yourself.
Yes.
Now what distance wise? What are we looking at here?
12 miles ish.
Yeah.
For the ultra, new.
My
new
side's
people.
already hurting.
But it's also like an easy pace too. No one's trying to set
break
a
a record.
Personal best on that 12-mile deal.
Show offs. Go back later. Come back later.
And you could think of it too like about an hour on the bike, like just an hour pedaling your bike around, talking to people next to you, and then I think a 16-mile loop maybe for people that want to go a little further, maybe a little faster. Try and knock that out around an hour and 10, hour and 15 minutes.
In case I missed it, Kaylin, our good friends, asking the land runs. Any intentions to come back to Guthrie soon?
I'm certain that they'll want to come back to Guthrie. It's
cool.
I think one of the best towns within 30, 40, 50 miles of Stillwater. I'm certain they'll be back.
That's awesome.
But I think they're going to keep moving the course every 2 years. They'll probably explore a few more towns and then
realize that Guthrie isn't a strong town, Elite 8 type performing town.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because there aren't a whole lot of places that where you can make that halfway point of a town that you can stop in.
Right.
And the cool thing about the city of Guthrie has been very generous with them, opening up different things for them to be more accommodating to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Another thing I'll mention about riding your bikes on dirt roads or gravel roads, there's an enormous safety comfort, I think, that comes with that. Compared to riding bikes on the road, there's way less traffic, and if there's less traffic, then there's less people driving and using their phones, which can be really dangerous if you're a cyclist. So I think that's one of the major appeals to people exploring this network of dirt roads that we have in Oklahoma. We're really lucky, actually. I learned in Wisconsin, all of and there's other states like this, but I know specifically with Wisconsin, because of the dairy industry there, all of their farm roads are paved because the milk trucks can't be jostled
Yeah.
because
Oh, wow.
the milk will foam up, I guess. So like they can't get out. They have no network of roads like in Oklahoma. It's immense. Like, and what's great about Guthrie, like I live in town and I can go a mile in almost any direction and hit the dirt roads. And then the other thing is that typically they're a little more scenic. So you get 5-10 miles outside of town on a dirt road, and you'll see some pretty cool things. So those are some of the really nice benefits to riding on the gravel that I think is really helping that niche in cycling grow. And so we wanted to highlight that here in Guthrie because I really think we have some of the best roads around.
And you said dirt roads because I started thinking, well, I live about exactly 1 mile from your in-laws. Actually, there's a lot of dirt roads in that area that whether you go north or south.
Yeah.
I think the 12-mile route kind of goes out by your house actually, so you can probably just like hop on like halfway and make it a 6-mile.
Yeah, I can
Right
hop
for you.
on halfway. Yeah, that's a
Well,
good idea.
what's funny is when I spent a year, Mallory and I spent a year out in Oregon, and there's a big cycling community out, and we lived in Eugene, Oregon, and a lot of bike commuters. There's bike trails. There's
Tall trees.
yeah, just like perfect, right?
Yeah.
So came back to Guthrie from that, and had been riding my bike like every day to and from work, and I was kind of trying to bring that here to Guthrie, like stay in that habit, bike to work. And there was this little patch of dirt road we were living out at my in-laws. It couldn't have been more than 100 yards. And I remember being so fed up with this patch of dirt road. I'm like, I can't ride my bike on this. It's so bumpy and dirty. And it's just funny because like my attitude's totally changed because I just didn't, it just wasn't in my capacity to think that like, oh, this is actually really great. It's just a matter of getting a slightly wider tire and kind of changing your perspective, and it opens up this whole new world of riding. So.
Well, you talked about like how on the gravel rides you don't have to worry about cars as much, and that's so true. Like on the weekly rides last year, on a bunch of them, like my son went with us, and he's 13. And if it was like a 20-mile ride on like regular paved roads, I probably wouldn't have felt comfortable with him, especially if it was like state highways and that kind of stuff, which a lot of rides end up encompassing at least some state highway if it's a road ride.
Sure.
But being on the kind of the county gravel roads, like I felt totally safe with him being involved in that. As a 12 or 13-year-old, there was one really cool ride last year where kind of northeast of town, there's just a monster hill, and kind of towards the end of the ride, and everybody was dragging pretty good on that, and my son was just at the end of like, he's like, this sucks, I hate this experience, this is awful. And then one of the other guys that was riding, Dustin Salee, who's just an animal athlete, like he kind of just rode over to beside my son and put his hand on his back and basically just pushed him up the hill with one hand.
Towed him in.
Yeah, and which was like one of the all-time best like photographs that I got. I was like, oh, that's a Kodak moment. I took a picture of it.
Yeah.
It just looked really cool. And it's one of those like a good illustration of kind of like how cool that ride is. Everybody just kind of like is trying to help each other.
Yep.
And, the social aspect of it was kind of on display there. So
You said Kodak.
yeah, Kodak, whatever that is.
That's so 80s.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so 6 o'clock, the ride leaves from Hoboken every Thursday, starting tomorrow.
Yeah. By the way, Hoboken, great product placement there for our video audience. Very, very clever.
So another thing, bring a cup, and we're going to have free beer after the ride, and we are going to
So what time are we meeting again?
Well, the ride ends about 7:30 if you just wanted to come for the hanger. Free beer, and we're going to have chips, salsa, and some delicious Mexican food from La Potosina. We're going to order some food up so that you can replenish some of the calories you burn after the ride. So it can't get any more enticing than that.
Heck yeah. Another kind of cool thing that's been happening over at Hoboken Coffee Roasters started maybe like 3 or 4 or 5 months ago was the Tiny Town concert series, which has ended up being like a pretty fantastic deal. So about once a month, you'll see a music video that's shot there at Hoboken. Some Fantastic Oklahoma singer-songwriter, musician type folks So talk about like kind of like your vision for like why you wanted to do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have probably heard of NPR Tiny Desk Concerts, and if you haven't, just Google that. There is a whole slew of them backlogged on YouTube, and I would be interested to know how that started, but basically just imagine like a big office setting, and a Tiny Desk concert literally means they like cram the artist behind someone's desk and they put a couple cameras on them, and these artists come in and typically like acoustic style will play 3 or 4 songs. And I remember watching one day and just thinking like, this looks really easy. Like you just have them come in and like point a camera at them and let them play. And so I text Justin and I said, we could do this, right? Like we could pull this off. And he said, yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. Justin's got an incredible connection within the music community here in Guthrie and across the state and region. And so I knew that I would need him to like pull that off because I don't have
the connections, the hookups.
Yes, very true. And also just his vote of confidence that like, yeah, I think we could do this. So it was just one of those ideas like, you know, you got a group text, you throw out ideas all the time.
All the time.
Maybe like 1% of them stick. And it stuck when Justin took his job here with the city doing tourism, and he was like, hey, I think we should really try and, you know, do that Tiny Desk concert idea in the coffee house that you had. So I'm like, all right, let's put the pieces together. And it really came together when Justin got the job here, and we reached out to a friend, Clark Underwood, who was kind of rebranding his videography business, and he was changing it to the Visual Brain. And so talked to him about it, and he was like, you know, I'm trying to get this new name out there, and I'd love to come along. Like, you guys are doing cool things. Like, I'll give you a really good deal on some video work. Justin had the contacts for the musicians, and we just stick them in front of the roaster, just like at NPR. We move a desk back and set them in front of the roaster there, and just roll the tape. And lastly, I think one cool twist that we do that you don't see on some of these other formats is like we'll kind of like prod the musician to open up about the song, whether it's the songwriting process or who it's about or why they wrote it. And it's really neat to kind of see them open up about, I think, and I'm not a songwriter, but writing a song is probably a really personal and kind of like intimate thing that happens. And as a fan of music, I don't ever think to ask, you know, you don't really have those opportunities. If you're at a show, you're not like, hey, tell me what.
Yeah, I got a few questions.
Yeah. So I think the artists really kind of relish that moment to like talk about the song, and it's cool. So then that all gets edited together, and it's just this beautiful thing that comes together. You see the song and the setting, and we don't quiet the cafe. I mean, I think people start to realize when someone's playing that, you know, they're not clanging things around, and
there's video cameras there, and Fortney's on the front with his camera. He's like, you know.
Yeah. But, you know, there's still like people that coming and going, and drinks being made, and so you kind of have that background noise, and it just feels really good.
It really is. It's a cool ambiance. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't drink coffee. I do get Hoboken hot chocolate and chocolate milk.
Very good.
That's me. I'm sorry. That's who I am. And you know, I don't really know the artists. You know, I watch all those, and then I watch the video. All 3 of those, put those together, and watching them walk into the coffee shop, into Hoboken, is a cool part of that. Yeah. And then, you know, taking their guitar out of the case, and then hearing them talk about their song and how they came up with it. And it's usually personal, something that happened with them in their life, and then put it all together with the ambiance and people watching and drinking and buying coffee. It's a pretty cool series. It really is.
Well, thank you. You
guys done a good job.
We're really proud of it, and the city's come along to help us make it happen. And I just think it's something to be proud of. So we really wanted to show that Guthrie, albeit a smaller town, has these moments. If you live here, you kind of get this rhythm of like these kind of magical things that happen, maybe with a predictable rhythm, but maybe randomly. And a lot of it has to do with the music, but just you could probably just pin it on the people that live here and the things that they create. And go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, even on the other side, for people who don't live here, the artists who come here to Guthrie get to see a great atmosphere, a great coffee shop, and they tell people, and it's a great deal not only for Hoboken and music, but it's people come here excited and actually see. A lot of people hear about it, but when they get to see it, it's like, wow, this is a really cool place.
Yeah, and that's the exact response that they give us.
Yeah.
And we certainly will be highlighting artists that live in town, but we also want it to reach outside of Guthrie and even regionally. I think it would be well within our grasp to nail down a major artist one day. I don't know how that's going to happen, but
it'll happen.
I'm just going to speak it.
I know this guy named Fortney. It'll be awesome.
Yes.
I'll send your text message.
We've said it on the podcast now, so it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just this week, KOSU and the Spy have kind of come alongside too to kind of be a part of the Tiny Town concert family, and so that's kind of just a little bit.
It's a cool name too, Tiny Town Concert. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we wanted to pay homage to the Tiny Desk series because that was definitely the inspiration, and we are a tiny town, and we sit the artists in front of a tiny roaster in this tiny little cafe, so it all just kind of fit.
It kind of has like this like symbolic kind of feel. Like Guthrie in general is this. It's a small town, 10,000 people or so, but even though it's a small town, it's packed full of more activity than a normal 10,000 person town should have.
Right.
And so then you have like this little video of a small coffee shop with this fantastic song being filmed there. It just kind of like fits with that sense of like small place, something really cool happening.
And again, for me personally, it does not even look like Guthrie. I mean, I don't know music. I haven't been to very many coffee shops. It just does not look like it. Looks like something back on the East Coast or something. Which it's a cool look, and I can't brag enough about this. And I get to showcase those a little bit on my website. But I watched every single one. It's well done. You guys would be well commended on that.
It's amazing what you can do now as far as production goes, and man, you can put together beautiful work with just a few of your friends. That's kind of what it came down to.
So the last shoot we had Kinsey Charles and Levi Parham, and we shot both of their songs, both of them there together on one morning. And so we already released the song from Kinsey, which was fantastic, and we've got a song we're going to show the video in a second from Levi Parham, who's actually on tour in Spain right now.
Go catch him in Spain.
Yeah, so if you're in Spain listening to this podcast, you can catch Levi in your neighborhood.
We're international as we go against Nelson, British Columbia.
Right.
Now this is growing a lot faster. We're going through the bricks faster.
Here's the newest Tiny Town concert video with a song from Levi Parham.
It's just about, feeling like maybe you want to run off, but maybe you really don't. I just thinking about my cat, how he just really wants to go outside sometimes, but then he doesn't really go that far.
Yeah.
And that's me.
Because he's tamed.
That's right.
Let's hear it.
All right. Well, this house won't let me go. I'm in this chair and I can't move. What I wanna go outside for ain't nothing like being next to you. Ooh, just like being next to you. I might need a breath of fresh air. Draw those curtains open wide. But I ain't leaving here without you. Going nowhere without you by my side. Ooh, without you by my side. Well, here I am, telling you all the ways I feel for you. Ooh, all the ways I feel for you. Well, everything reminds me of you, and all those moments that we've shared. Why would I ever want to leave, girl? Why even bother with going anywhere? Ooh, bother going anywhere. All right, listen up. Baby, I was a lion in the tall grass, rawr, just outside the fenced-in yard. But now you've made a house cat of me. Doubt I ever try and venture very far. Ooh, I doubt I ever go too far. Well, here I am telling you all the ways I feel for you. Well, here I am telling you all the ways I feel for you. Ooh, all the ways I feel for you. All right, thank you.
A few things coming up this week around Guthrie. We had some Pollard folks on last week. Their show starts on April 12th, opening night for Beehive, the 60s musical. But this Saturday, you can get a special deal on tickets. So you can get a buy one, get one half off special. So you buy one at regular price, and you can buy a second one for half.
And who goes to play by themselves anyway?
Right? It's kind of awkward. Unless you do that, and then it's awesome.
Then it's awesome. Take a friend, though, this time.
For half price, you can take a friend.
Absolutely.
Yes, you can call 282-2800. That's their box office, or pollard.org. I also just saw that I think opening night for this show, Jerome's going to announce the next season of shows there.
Cool.
And that's always kind of like a cool thing to see what the next year of shows at the Pollard's going to look like. Rodeo stuff. Are you a rodeo guy?
I've covered them before, a few videos and stuff, and wrote about them. Those guys are amazing.
Yeah.
Those guys, I don't know. I don't know how they do it.
I feel like it's like a hockey game. Like, I'm not trying to go to a hockey game, but if someone takes me there, I always have a fun time.
Yeah.
You know, it's great.
It's like, you know you're going to fall off, right? You know you're going to fall off.
Yeah.
And those guys are tough. Ugh, guys and gals are tough.
There was one summer in college that I worked in outside of Birmingham, Alabama, and a bunch of guys that I worked with took me to a rodeo one weekend. And first of all, it was out in the middle of nowhere. We just turned down different dirt roads in nowhere, Alabama. We ended up at this rodeo place.
That's cool.
And I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. People were so into that stuff, which I don't know anything about rodeos. But rodeos are great, and there's one coming
Right in
up.
the middle of downtown, right in the middle of Guthrie. You don't have to go.
Not downtown, but you're close by. Yeah.
The Roundup Club?
It
that
used
where
to be around.
Used to be.
Now it's
By the fairgrounds.
Yes,
At the
down
fairgrounds.
at the fairgrounds tomorrow night. You can check out some rodeo stuff. I wish I could explain rodeo things better because there's like details to it that if Verla was here, she could like just chime in with all kinds of details. But
Yeah.
Verla, if you're listening, you're letting us down by not being here to explain.
She
rodeo
does her
to
hair and
people.
makeup too. She wasn't here today
Right.
for that either.
Right. So check out the rodeo tomorrow night down at the fairgrounds. The Military Veterans Rodeo is who kind of Jerry Casey puts
Jerry
all that
Casey.
nothing together throughout the year. Does some cool stuff.
Rodeo clown.
Yes. Yeah.
Not you, but Jerry.
Thanks. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
I have more talent than I have.
I was going to say,
If
you
you're
just said you didn't know
rodeo
anything about rodeo, and I didn't say, well, you're a rodeo clown. That would be not good if you're a rodeo clown didn't know anything about rodeo.
Right, yeah. Also, out at Lazy E this weekend, they've got something called the Border Bash. This is actually pretty cool. It's like high school kids from Oklahoma, high school kids from Kansas, and they compete against each other to see who's a better state, I think.
Well, we found out who was a better town last week when we went up against Westwood, Kansas.
Yeah. So hopefully our Oklahoma kids carry on the Guthrie tradition of just wiping the floor with Kansas. Also, if you're into knitting, and who's not, right?
Knit all the time.
Knitting. I just learned this, that every Tuesday and Thursday down at Sealed with a Kiss, which is a really cool shop in downtown Guthrie, from 10 to 3, every single Tuesday and Thursday you can drop in and like people get together and it's kind of like a little community socializing kind of thing with where you can like work on like knitting projects and other folks are there to help you out with your knitting stuff. And so it's like a Thursday night bike ride,
Yeah.
Getting ready to say.
but with knitters.
Well, I think there's
No patio,
an
but-
entire bed and breakfast in Guthrie committed to the knitting community, and you go and you rent the house, you knit together, you cook together.
Yeah.
There is a strong knit game.
And
pretty
scrapbook.
incredible.
And scrapbook too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. They have like the old attic at that place. They renovated it to where it's like incredible now, and you can have like a huge group of like 20 people who wanted to get together and do like knitting or different crafts for the entire weekend. You hang out and you do that.
I want to say it's on the 700 block of East Warner.
That's pretty specific of you. Yeah, well done.
Yeah, on the right side, on the
Right.
north, on the
North
south
side.
side, north
Yeah.
side.
North side.
You know, GPS coordinates.
Yeah. I remember the. Yeah. Not that I watch planning meetings all the time, but I remember the process. Yeah, it's very
Right on.
cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
You
So-
do watch planning meetings, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
All of it.
They're featured on the. It's just a great state of work.
Yeah, is this a great state or what?
It is,
featured
yes.
the it's a great state. They featured the bed and breakfast
Yeah.
with the arts and crafts specialty
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
The
so
the Civil with the Kills has a cool website. I mean, when you hear it the first time, you're like, oh, that's a pretty cool.
yeah, absolutely. So swacknit.com is their
That's legit.
SWAKKNIT.com. Swacknit. But what's cool is they have classes there all the time where you can learn how to make your own hat and make your own socks, and you can be like totally self-sufficient as a knitter by going to their classes. So go to swacknit.com and learn how to find all about their classes and learn to knit socks and hats. I think it's more than knitting. I think there's like other terms involved. Crocheting.
Crocheting.
That might be knitting too. I
I
don't know.
thought I remember scrapbooking too. No, am I making this up? It might be
I
on
think
the
it-
west side.
I think
I
you
thought
are.
he was on the east side, but maybe it's
That's the different place.
different thing. Yeah, different place.
Yeah. So
Swacknit.com.
check out all those things. Pollard sale, rodeos, Seal with the Kiss has classes and stuff. So stop by Hoboken every chance you get. It really is one of the most comforting places on earth. I love it. It's like my second living room.
Even for people who don't drink coffee like me, I still get the hot chocolate or the chocolate milk.
You know?
And
It's
we've
really when they go strong on the chocolate. It's really good.
we've upped our tea game as well. So we've got kombucha on tap. If you've never tried kombucha, we have it on tap now. It's delicious. It's made down in Oklahoma City, and we have some delicious tea options from Woodshed Tea, another tea company in Oklahoma City. So we have a wide variety of non-coffee beverages.
I'm not a huge kombucha fan, but the stuff that you guys have is just makes money. It tastes delicious.
It's very delicious.
Yeah, it's not like an acquired taste like some stuff is.
Yeah.
You taste it and you're like, oh,
Very approachable.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Of course, we all know where Hoboken is for our folks in Nelson, British Columbia, in Spain. Address on South Division.
224 South Division, right across the street from Simone's, kind of tucked away in the cul-de-sac.
Right by Jelsman Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool
Simone's
backdrop.
was just on
Good
Discover
series.
Oklahoma
Yes.
this past weekend.
He did a very good job too.
Yeah.
No wonder you guys are killing this bracket. It's just-
Right?
Yeah,
Everybody's
absolutely.
doing good work.
Mhm.
Hey, one more final note as well. We do these on Wednesdays, but next Tuesday, be sure to go out and vote for the school bond issue.
Yep.
There's a couple local races as well, but be sure to get out and exercise your right to vote.
Yeah. City Council, school board has
One
people.
board's up on the school board, 2 for city council, and then the school bond election. So
Get out there and vote, and we'll see you next week on Hit the Bricks.
Coming home